Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sports Talks with Eddie. And a hot and muggy Thursday. Um, for the most part, it's just really been muggy and whatnot. But for the most part, it's definitely been a typical July day in New York City. Definitely a lot to pack in into this episode and whatnot. We gotta definitely go over the home run derby, the All Star game. We're also gonna get a little bit of football coming in. I know everybody's been getting on me about, hey man, you're doing all this baseball stuff and this basketball stuff, and not much football. Well, for the football segments, I'm really trying to lean towards getting closer to the Hall of Fame game, which is normally at the end of August. So that's what I'm pretty much striving for as far as getting more football segments. They are coming in, and when they do come in, they're gonna come in rapid. So, but we are gonna discuss a little bit of football in today's show. Um, I want to get into the home run derby. All Star Weekend in Atlanta was insane. You got a few of today's best home run sluggers going at it for the ultimate trophy. And man, was it insane, man. Shout out to Junior Caminero. You had Jazz Chisholm. I already know you guys are gonna get on me. Listen. He's got 20 home runs. He's an in-game home run guy. All right, let's just cut him some slack. He's an in-game home run guy. But for the most part, it was just an amazing home run derby show. I think what people get misconstrued is that they want to see some of that magic from 2008 when Josh Hamilton just went bonkers in the old Yankee Stadium. Listen, I would like to see that too, but I think the way the rules and regulations are shaped, it's not as promising as it would be in years past. I think the new rule is you have like 40 pitches. I think it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes and 50 seconds they give you. You get a timeout in between. And I think if you hit a ball over 425 feet, that's when you get the bonus outs, which I think is pretty cool because everybody in that participated in that home run derby, I think is more than capable of hitting a baseball 425 feet. Let's just put that out there. So honestly, just an amazing show. The finals was led to O'Neal Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Kyle Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners. Kyle Raleigh ended up taking the home run derby trophy. He is the first catcher in Major League Baseball history to win the home run derby. So shout out to Kyle Raleigh, who is not only your 2025 home run derby winner, but he's also leading Major League Baseball in home runs. He's got 38, and I believe Aaron Judge is right behind him at 36. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two are able to collectively make history. Maybe we get some of that Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa magic that we got back in '98. That would definitely be excited. I remember just coming home from school and just begging, just racing to get home to just see who's gonna hit a home run and whatnot, and how close how they're gonna get for breaking the record and stuff like that. That was just truly a historic time in baseball history, and a historic time that I would definitely remember as far as watching baseball as a kid. So yeah, but home run derby was amazing. Like I said, I like the rules that they got together. It doesn't seem watered down. Where as far as like the outs and stuff like that, it almost felt like it was rushed. So I think the timeouts in between, where they're able to call timeouts, has helped. I like the fact that they do get the bonus outs if they hit a baseball further than 425 feet. I think that's pretty neat. Something new and spicy to add to the home run derby. I think that's pretty neat. So I think most of all, they got it right as far as the home run derby. It was a little bit of everything that you would want as far as watching a home run derby. You had your hitters there, and Kyle Raleigh, you had O'Neal Cruz, you had Caminero, Brent Rooker. You had all these guys who are more than capable of hitting bombs, and man, that they fly out of Sun Truce arena over there in Atlanta. So, and I also like the little shout outs that they did as far as bringing a few of Atlanta's own. You got Jermaine Dupri, you know, you got Ludacris. It doesn't look like he aged a bit, man. Whatever he's got going on, whatever water he's drinking, man, bring that over here. So it was cool to see Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris lock up one more time and perform their hit song "Welcome to Atlanta." Obviously, with them being in Atlanta, so that was pretty cool. I also like the tribute that they did for Hank Aaron. I thought that was pretty neat and really, really something nice and solid that Major League Baseball uh, took the time to pay dividends to. Obviously, one of the best athletes in Atlanta sports history. So I thought that was pretty neat and pretty dope. So I cannot wait to see what the home run derby has in store. Hopefully, we can get some top hitters like Otani and Aaron Judge to at least do it one more time. Listen, if we can get Otani, Judge, and Kyle Riley in a home run derby just one time, man. I mean, come on, that is box office right there. That is definitely box office. So it's interesting to see if they are going to make that happen and just give the fans what they want. I mean, I know a lot of people who will sign up for to see that. I know I definitely will. So it's pretty cool, nevertheless, that Major League Baseball are still studying and still figuring out ways to make the home run derby exciting. I think they really excelled this year. Now, as far as the All Star game, I thought the All Star game was pretty cool. Um, Obviously, your starting pitchers were arguably the two best pitchers in baseball. Quick story, which a lot of people don't know. Obviously, Max Fried is just pitching lights out for the New York Yankees and whatnot. And there was a story that I read online a couple of days ago about Max Fried actually reaching out to Terry Skubal, who's arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now as we speak. Detroit Tigers Terry Skubal, and he just called him just to catch his interest as far as whether he wanted to start the All Star game. Obviously, it would have been a cool gesture for manager Aaron Boone, without being biased, to have Max Fried start in the All Star game, considering the fact that he did spend 8 seasons with the Atlanta Braves. So to just be able to pitch one time for the Atlanta hopeful, I'm pretty sure Max Fried was pretty dope. But Tarek School was very receptive to that phone call where, you know, it's very rare when you see guys do generous gestures like that, where he would go out and just call him and be like, hey, you got the numbers, I get it. I got good numbers too. I played for these people for the past 8 seasons, but honestly, I think you deserve it. What is your interest as far as wanting to start the All Star game? Uh, Terry School was receptive, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I think it'll be pretty cool." So, you know, that conversation led to, "Hey, man, it's yours." So, and I think Terry School was very receptive to it. He said, it's one of the nice gestures that are not talked about enough as far as it's easy to talk about what people do on the field and stuff like that as far as the talent that they display on the field, because that's all we see. But to hear conversations like that are presented to the media and for the fans, that we can just get a glimpse of how these people are off the field is nothing short of amazing. So the fact that Max Fried took the initiative to just reach out to Scooble and just to glare his interest as far as wanting to start in the All Star game, I thought it was pretty neat, and they are pretty close friends even before this. So I just think it was just a really really nice gesture that Free did for Scooble, and again, Scooble did his thing for those innings that he did in the All Star game. He was just electric, and so is Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is another pitcher that's going to be good for years and years to come. So uh, definitely good stuff from both All Star pitchers. First, the All Star game, again, very competitive, which is what you want to see. I get it. The All Star game is the best baseball players on the one roof and stuff like that. You're not going to really go 100% and stuff like that. Number one, it is an all-star game, so it's just basically something to just give to the fans and be like, hey man, thanks for supporting me throughout the year. Your support does not go unnoticed. We're here. We're gonna give you the best performance that we can, and also just a competitive level that I feel that Major League Baseball has put in, where the winner of the league gets home field advantage in the World Series. So, I mean, you have the NBA All Star Game, which I already said off the air, and now I'm gonna say it here. I really think it's a joke. It's cool to see the alley oops and the bounce passes and the dunks or something like that, but for me, it's just the competitive nature of when that game takes place. There's really no this not it's not a competitive game. It's really not a competitive game, and I think the NBA needs to take a page out of Major League Baseball and try to add something. Something. Obviously, you can't do the home field throughout the NBA Finals, because the two people that meet in the NBA Finals, more than likely, if that team has home field within the NBA as far as the best record, then the best record, rightfully so, should have the first two games played in their home court. So I'm not sure how the NBA is going to get their version of the All Star game to be exciting and whatnot, but I definitely think that it is going to be a challenge for them to do that, because, like I said, Major League Baseball is just doing their thing when it comes to the excitement as far as the All Star game. We have some breaking news. So I was going to tell you about the All Star game. Matter of fact, let me just finish that up as far as the All Star game. All Star game was good. The National League came out to a 6-0 lead, and the American League were able to come back and were able to storm back to tie it up at 6, which is pretty cool. I don't like the All Star game ending in a tie. I think it's just stupid. To be honest with you, I just think it's ridiculous for a All Star game to end in a tie. So it ended off on a what I call a home run derby, because let's just face it, that's exactly what it was. Carl Sorber took 3 swings for the National League to give the National League the ultimate win in the All Star game, which means whoever comes out of the National League will get home field advantage in the World Series. So I think Major League Baseball needs to really look into that. I don't have a problem with the All Star game ending the way a regular season game would end if they were going to extra innings. You put the runner in second, you don't know. You put your fastest runner, who's been an All Star, maybe has 30 stolen bases to begin. He steals third, the ball gets away, he runs home. It's an exciting way to end an All Star game, if you ask me. Walk off single, obviously, one of the most exciting plays in baseball is the walk off home run. So there's so many aspects that they can do, and this could be a quick change. Honestly, this could be a very quick change um, to make this game more exciting. And I think that's something that Major League Baseball really needs to, get into, as far as just bringing some excitement back to this All Star game, because the finish, I just did not like the finish. I wasn't okay with the finish, so I think that Major League Baseball really needs to look into something. So again, before I wrap that up, we do have some breaking news that's coming into the show. This is not a done deal. This is just a buddy of mine, Julian, is reporting that Damian Lillard has come to a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Portland Trail Blazers. It is consisting of a full no trade clause. So again, as soon as I get a more accurate report, and I'm not saying that my buddy Julian is not accurate. He's one of the most accurate people I know, and for his age, this guy knows his stuff, man. I was able to have him on a show, and he was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So as soon as I get an accurate, definitive word from a source as far as this report coming true, we will definitely bring it to you as far as Damian Lillard. And I'm so happy for him, man, because I felt that was a bit of BS that the Bucks did, just releasing him. Unfortunately, he had the torn Achilles in the playoff series, and again, when healthy, Damian Lillard is one of the most exciting players to grace an NBA basketball, grace our presence. He's just so good. So I'm glad that if this is 100% accurate, and it indeed it is. Again, breaking news: Damian Lillard is finalizing a 3-year, $42 million deal to return to the Portland Trail Blazers. This is according to ESPN's Sham Charania, and the news. I gotta give my boy Julian credit for breaking out the news to me right on the show. So I think that was the first time we actually had breaking news on the show. So that's pretty dope. So again, shout out to Julian for bringing that report to us. Once again, Damian Lillard finalizing a 3-year, $42 million deal to return to the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, Lillard is expected to miss all of next season as he recovers from that torn Achilles. So we got the All Star stuff out the way and whatnot. There is something that I considered on a personal level that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get to talk about last last week. I want to talk about something that happened a couple of weeks ago, and you guys can hop on and correct me if I'm wrong about the two teams that played at the time. But it was a game between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago White Sox, and as a fan, you want to cheer on the best player. You want to vote for your team and stuff like that. And of course, when you have the top tier hitters on the opposing team, you're gonna boo and boo and boo. The issue that I have is that some fans they really take it to the extreme. Um, there was an incident involving Ketel Marte where a fan had shutted out derogatory comments about his mother. Now, for the viewers that don't understand how significant that was, is Ketel Marte's mother died tragically in a car accident in 2017. Now, here's my message to anybody that attends any game. If you're gonna be a jackass, don't be that way at a game. Plain and simple. It's okay to boo, it's okay to scream, it's okay to shout, but at the end of the day, I think we lose sight of these people, these players being people just like we are. They just happen to be playing. They're playing a kid's game, and they're playing the game that they loved as a kid. They got emotions and feelings just like me and you do. So to go and bring something personal is absolutely disgusting. And there was a moment where you caught Ketel Marte, breaking down in tears. And shout out to the Arizona Diamondbacks, the teammates that were just able there to console him. And again, from everybody here at Our Time Press, we just want to send our condolences to Ketel Marte and just apologize. That any sports figure has to go through that. It's just there's no place anywhere, regardless of how you feel about a particular team or a particular player, to bring something that personal. And if you didn't know that, then maybe you should do your homework before you start talking smack about somebody and saying something that stupid in a baseball game. But shout out to Major League Baseball because that fan was not only banned from the arena, but has been banned to participate in any games in all 30 Major League Baseball teams. So shout out for Major League Baseball for standing up, not only for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but for mostly Ketel Marte. I think we sort of lose sight as far as just the game itself and whatnot. Again, it's okay to be excited. It's okay to cheer. It's okay to boo. It's okay to be a hater. I've gone to a couple of games with my brother, who's a Met fan, and I'm a Yankee fan. But I think we both understand the competitiveness that me and him have as far as having so much love and appreciation for our respective teams, but I don't see us ever in any aspect in any sporting events we've been to, whether it's been a baseball game, whether it's been a basketball game. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, and again, these performers, they have a job just like we do. They have a family just like we do. So, just for the fans that have done that or go into a game in hopes of doing that, just stop the BS, man. It's just no call for that. It really no call for that. It was a disgusting gesture. It's something that no pro athlete should ever have to endure. So I'm glad that Major League Baseball stood on business with that and got that fan ejected because the only time he's going to be able to watch a game is on his couch, rightfully so. So I'm glad that they were able to do that. I just felt like it was my right as far as myself and our time press, who I represent, to just bring that out to light and to just show Cattell Marte support from our end and anybody who has gone through that sort of bullying, because essentially that was bullying. That was bullying at its worst. And again, as pro sports figures, I'm pretty sure they're taught to carry a certain image, carry a certain, machismo as they call it out there. But at the end of the day, they're all built with emotions. They're all built with feelings, just like we are. We all have had significant losses. I'm pretty sure that Jerk has significant losses. But again, just very unfortunate seeing that happen in Chicago. But I'm glad Major League Baseball once again stood on business for Cattell Marte. So I'm gonna wrap that up, and I'm hoping that anybody who thinks about doing that just know about the consequences, because I'm a big sports head and I will be very, very, very disappointed that I or anybody that I attend a game with were banned from attending a game. And for those who have never attended a baseball game and whatnot, listen, any sort of sporting event, it is just one of the best. For me, is one of the best experiences that I've had. Um, I guess that's a testament to my love for sports. But again, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for a Broadway show. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing if you were to attend, I don't know, Chris Brown concert or Travis Scott or Nas or something like that, J Cole or whatever the case may be. But again, it's no greater feeling to actually watch sports, but it's a different echelon when you're actually there live and just feeling that roar of the crowd and that excitement and that adrenaline that you get from watching a sports game. Unbelievable. Pro wrestling, whatever's your cup of tea, there's no other feeling like it. So again, um, shout out to Major League Baseball for doing that, and I hope that people just take the time to just know that they are, again, I get it, they are sports figures, but they're also people at the end of the day, just like me and you. And there's just no place, not only in the world of sports, but in today's society. There's a bunch of ugly stuff that's going out there in today's world. You know what I'm saying? And we need to just cover all that nonsense and just bring something positive, because let's face it, sometimes life could be structured, upon just disappointment and upon people just being disgruntled. So we don't need that energy on this side. So again, I'm gonna close that up and I'll wrap that up. Again, if you're just joining the show, according to ESPN, Sean Sharani and my buddy Julian, Damian Lillard is returning to where it all started for him in his basketball career, signing a 3-year, $42 million contract to return to the Portland Trailblazers. The deal is expected to include a player option for the 2027-2028 season, and it also consisted of a full no trade clause. So let's talk Mets and Yankees. Um, and last week's show, we were just talking about who the Yankees and the Mets may target and stuff like that. So I want to be able to get people to fall to actually call in and just tell me who they think is a fit for their team as far as the Mets and Yankees. I'll give you my guys fits as far as who I think. Let's get into the Mets. And for those people who haven't picked up a copy, please pick up a copy of Our Time Press this week. It is printed out as of today. I did do a segment on the New York Mets. I've been getting punches left and right about my Met fans about me not doing any Met stories. I don't know why, because since I've done this podcast, I want to say at least within June or July, I've done at least 3 Met stories. So I mean, come on, guys, just pick up the paper just like you're tuning in right now, man. Give me a break, all right? But so for the Mets, there's a lot. It's weird. It's almost surreal in the same way because it's almost like they're in this same roller coaster ride as the Yankees are when it comes to their pitching situation, when it comes to their hitting situation. It just seems like they're just in one big roller coaster together. Um, I do think the Mets need to entertain starting pitching. One name that comes into mind is Florida's Sandy Alcantara, but I think Florida is going to be smart as far as how they pitch Alcantara to certain teams, as far as getting the best package available. Before his Tommy John surgery last year, Alcantara was arguably one of the best young pitchers to come out of baseball. Obviously, this year he's still getting his feet wet as far as pitching. He's had some rough starts to begin the year, but essentially speaking, in my opinion, for what I've seen as far as pitchers coming back from this sort of injury, this is basically uh, what a torn Achilles is in basketball. Tommy John surgery, as far as a pitcher, is one of the most significant, if not the most significant injury that you can have as a pitcher. And in my opinion, it's really a 2 year recovery. It really is essentially a 2 year recovery. You can, rehab and heal and stuff for a year and then miss a season, then come back the following season. But I don't really think you're necessarily yourself until you get those jitters out the way and be like, you know what? I can't perform the way I used to. I'm not afraid no more. So I think I'm not. I mean, again, I'm not in Sandy Alcantara's head to speak for him and let him know like that's what he's going through. But ultimately, this is a young pitcher who has so much potential, who has the possibility of being one of the game's best pitcher currently. Unfortunately, right now we're not seeing it. We're not seeing that, but it would not surprise me if I see a team like the Mets learn, take a chance, give Florida a decent package without sacrificing their farm system as far as them able to acquire a pitcher of that stature. I think that would be a great fit. Obviously, the Mets have been decimated with injuries when it comes to pitching rotation. We Kodai Senga just came back from a hamstring injury. He's been dealing with lower leg issues the past 2 seasons. So hopefully that he's back in the fold. Hopefully he can come back because before his injury, this guy was pitching like an ace for the New York Mets. And again, I said this in last week's show. When you have the big market teams perform well, such as the New York teams, such as the Chicago teams, the LA teams, it just makes that particular sport more exciting. I'm begging for somebody to come on this show or to call on the show to tell me different. That's just what it is, in my opinion. Whenever you have those big media teams and those superstars performing at an elite level, it just brings that much of an excitement to that particular team. So I definitely think if you add Alcantara to that pitching rotation, um, it definitely gives the Mets an extra arm, which they need. And the combination of, I'm going from a playoff aspect. So essentially speaking, if the players were to start today, the Mets would probably go maybe Mania one if he's healthy. He just came back dealing with elbow issues. So you would think that he'll be given the ball in game one, followed by Senga. It could be interesting to see who they put in game three. I would probably think that they would pencil in David Peterson. And then if they do for a game four, depending on how Carlos Mendoza structures the rotation, whether he just goes with Mania as far as game one and bring him back on short days rest at game four. But I think it's worth the risk of potentially bringing him back for a game five if you have a pitcher like Alcantara who could pitch a game four. Again, I get it, no playoff experience, but again, if Alcantara can show what he showed before the Tommy John surgery, that is a huge plus for not only the Mets pitcher staff, but for the organization in general. I mean, this is again, I still have belief in this guy. This guy has a live arm. This guy has the potential of being back to all-star form, but it's going to take time. Again, these injuries, especially Tommy John surgery, is just they take time. I know everybody is excited about Garrett Cole, who just underwent the surgery a few months back with his Tommy John surgery, and he'll probably won't be expected to come back until next summer. But I think it's unfair as far as Yankee fans and just sports fans in general to essentially just think like, okay, we're gonna get the Garrett Cole ace of old. I don't know if that's gonna be the case. Again, it has to do with getting the feeling as far as getting that fatigue back, as far as not the fatigue, but just the wear and tear. As far as throwing a baseball around and whatnot, you're essentially going almost a year, more than a year, without throwing a baseball, and it's so easy to just throw, catch from 50 yards away and whatnot, or just pitching simulated games and whatnot. But actually pitching in-game situations is a whole different ball game. So again, I think Alcantara will be a tremendous pickup for the New York Mets as far as their pitching goes. There are also a few names that they have been looking at as far as their bullpen. Mitch Keller has been a name that's been attached to both not only the Mets but the Yankees as well too. Um, David Robinson is also a name that's also been brought up. I get it. He's 40 years old, but I would definitely like to see him end his career in a Yankee uniform. I think that would be pretty neat. He was a special player and an important player at that during the 2009 World Series run. So to get David Robinson back as far as what he did on the field, but not only off the field, with his fundraiser and his foundation that he had with him and his wife. I thought that was pretty neat. I actually took the initiative to read up on that. It's good stuff. So check out that whenever you guys get a chance as far as David Robinson's foundation. So I think that will definitely be a good fit for both the Yankees or the Mets. And obviously, he knows what it means to pitch in New York, and he's got the player of experience to do so. So we'll see if that comes into fruition as far as both the Mets and Yankee goes. David Robinson has not pitched this year. The last he pitched was back in September with the Philadelphia Phillies. So again, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that goes. So we're going to go into calls now and see what's going on. Hey, what's going on? You would talk sports.
Hello. I wanted to talk about the Yankees trade deadline and especially about a specific player on the Arizona Diamondbacks. You may know him, Eugenio Suarez.
Yes, sir.
Starter for National League All-Star and also a very much needed piece for the Yankees, who do not have a third baseman and is also a right-handed batter. If they did pull this off, which I don't know what it would take, where would you have them at least in obviously the National League is stacked with the Dodgers, but where would you have in the American League, looking at teams like the Blue Jays getting really hot and like other teams?
I think great question, by the way, and thank you so much for taking the time to call in. I think honestly, my answer may surprise you a little bit, but I would pencil them in as number two, but a very close number two. In my opinion, I still think the Detroit Tigers are the best team currently in the American League. Um, the issue I have two issues with this trade, maybe even three, but I'll break it down to two. One, Eugenio Suarez. Obviously, we know what he can do with the bat. He's having a career year. We all seen that big grand slam that he hit when they were at the stadium earlier this year, which crushed my heart. I'm pretty sure it crushed yours. I'm pretty sure you had the chance to watch it. He's not your prototypical defenseman, and that's been the knock on him for the most part. So it's pretty much, I wouldn't say it's high risk, high reward, but you have to ultimately think number one, are you willing to take a guy who is not as sharp on defense that what you currently have on your roster, but is essentially better than any third baseman that you have on your roster? The second part is just me knowing the Yankees as far as trading deadline experience. They don't necessarily go for the big fish. I'm tired of hearing these rumors about, oh, it's close, or they linked to this person, or they linked to that
Yeah.
person, and then next thing you know, we get somebody. I don't know. We get somebody like I don't know, like a DJ LeMahieu or something like
Or
that. So
financially.
essentially, I would love for it to happen. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks are pretty much going to reel him out to the Yankees and be like, "Hey, you want this guy? What are you willing to give me? I'm not willing to give up a Ken Sisler. I'm not
Okay.
willing to give up a Spencer Jones. I'm not willing to give up a Roger Arias. I'm
All right.
not willing enough to give up George Lombard. And I'm pretty sure with the Diamondbacks knowing that the Yankees are in the need of a third baseman, they're probably going
Yeah.
to act. It wouldn't surprise me if they ask for the kitchen sink. But if you're the Yankees, are you willing to number one part ways with these particular prospects, knowing that this could possibly be a rental? We all seen what happened with Juan Soto. We all
Yep.
thought that he was in for the run when he came in from the Padres, and essentially he took his ball and went to Queens with it. So I'm not sure if this is the safest move. Is it the most sexiest move for them to do? Yes, but I don't think they will have a package attractive enough for the Diamondbacks to be like, you know what, this sounds pretty neat. I just hope that it's not an American League team that just goes under our nose like the Blue Jays or the Red Sox. I know the Red Sox with Alex Bregman out, they'll probably be in the running for a third baseman. So if he goes anywhere but those two teams, I'll be fine with it. I just feel like Cashman is reluctant to part with certain prospects, which I get. But at the end of the day, if you are trying to build a roster around the certain core you got, listen, let's just put it out there. Aaron Judge, he's getting up there. He just had a birthday a
Yep.
couple of weeks ago. I want to say, if healthy, maybe 3, 4 years as far as a prime window. I gotta see at least one championship. I would love to see two. I would love to see three, but just give me one during this window as far as just the raw and just beautiful talent that we're seeing, historic talent that we're seeing from Aaron Judge. So again, I don't know. I would like it in particular. It's just something that the Yankees would have to think as far as who they're going to part ways with, because I'm more than certain that the Diamondbacks are just not going to give Suarez a raise. I've heard rumors about, the Yankees having a package and trying to see if they can get a 2-for-1 special where they can get Suarez and potentially Zach Gallen,
Yep. Yeah.
who's not having the greatest of year, but maybe a change of scenery and a fresh start would help for him. But again, it's very hard to see Cashman pulling these triggers. I mean, there's been rumors circulating that the Yankees are stirring up something big, but I've heard that the past 4 trade deadlines. So
Yeah. Nothing
unless I
seems like
see
it.
it, unless I essentially say, you know what, man, this has a good chance of happening. Geez, this may actually go down. Then I'm gonna be like, you know what? Okay, let's see what we have. But again, I'm a little topsy turvy when it comes to that because it can essentially be a rental, and if we're going to part ways with a Roderick Arias, a Cam Schisler who we've only seen one star. We've only seen, a little bit of him, but in that first start, he was pretty damn good against a pretty decent Seattle Mariners team. So, are the Yankees willing to give up on prospects like that, considering the fact that currently we do need arms? We do need
Yep.
arms. So, that's definitely something that the Yankees would have to consider. But I just don't know. The safest bet that I have that would be considered high risk, high reward, which a lot of people are not talking about because he's had injuries in the past, more recently. I would look at a guy like Royce Lewis. Um, Royce Lewis is a
Oh
guy
yeah,
who can give you some good at bats. He's good defensively. I do believe he has a. I believe he's in a contract year. Don't quote me on that, but I think it will be a less of a package that Minnesota will be willing to accept if they decide to sell. Because Minnesota is a pretty good team, but we just don't know with them. I'm hearing a lot of rumors circulating about Harrison Bader being on the market.
yeah,
Byron Buxton has went on record and saying that he would like to be a Minnesota Twin for life. But I'm also hearing his name being thrown out in trade deadlines. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that unfolds with Minnesota. With Minnesota, as far as whether they're going to be buyers and sellers at the trade deadline. So again, that would be the direction that I think the Yankees would go. But again, the way Brian Cashman has been operating, for the past couple of years, you just don't know. But again, I would be quite surprised. Number one, if they're able to land Eugenio Suarez. Number two, what is that trade package going to really look like? You don't want to give up so much on a guy. I wouldn't consider him a star, a superstar, maybe a star, but I don't even want to go that far. This is the first time we're seeing him conduct this type of power. I do think his batting average needs to be a little bit better. I think currently, right now, he's in the 250s, 260s, if I'm not mistaken. And again, the fact that he's coming in a contract year is sort of bothersome when it comes to how I'm feeling about it. If he had like maybe 2 years of contractual control, maybe I'll be a little bit comfortable with them doing that, minus the top tier prospects, maybe some B level prospects. But I do expect whatever team decides to entertain Arizona with the services of getting Eugenio Suarez, I think is going to be. I think Arizona is going to swing for the fence when it comes to that sort of package and what that package may potentially look like.
yeah. I completely agree. And then here's the thing with like some of the prospects I have is just I don't see Cam Schlittler like being more valuable in a trade than a guy than like Ben Hess, the guy we traded for, or the guy we drafted last year. I feel like he's more of an A-tier prospect, and some people don't agree just because they've seen that start where where Schlittler like looked really good. Like they think that he needs to be untouchable. I feel like he could be thrown in a trade with the starting pitching depth we have right now. I don't view him as much of an untouchable prospect as others.
So so what you're essentially saying is that you would keep Ben Hess, and you would
Yeah.
throw in a Sisler if it means getting also a player like Suarez, correct?
Yes, I would
Okay,
definitely do that.
okay, I could definitely I could definitely get that. I could definitely get that. Again, the reason why I'm worrisome about that is we don't know what this guy is made of.
Yeah.
Again, we can't just look at one star and be like, man, this guy could be the next big thing. But Clark Smith injury was just so fatal. It was
That
so
was
fatal.
terrible.
Terrible. And it's the second picture that we have that's going down to Tommy John surgery. So again, we got to essentially plug in somebody in that number three hole because I don't know about you, but you know, I don't. I'm not too comfortable. I don't really trust Stroman. Stroman is
No,
like
definitely not.
Stroman's like a human roller coaster. You don't know what you're gonna get out of him. Will Warren is somebody that has potential, but he does have those stars where it makes you scratch your head and be like, "Damn, what the hell just happened?" Like
Yeah.
I just got rocked for eight runs. So he still has the potential of being good. I think Will Warren is exactly where Clark Schmidt is. Clark Schmidt was last year, where you do see the improvement. His strikeout ratio is just out of this world, but he does have an issue as far as leaving certain pitches over the plate, and his walk ratio does need to improve. But again, if you ask me, life and death, who am I choosing, Will Warren or Stroman? I'll probably go Will Warren. And essentially speaking, Will Warren, and this is considering the fact that Brian Cashman doesn't happen to reel in anybody in the trade deadline, but if the Yankees were to make the playoffs, Will Warren will probably be a third starter.
You will honestly
You
at
know,
this point.
if you really look at it, it'll be Freed, Rodon, which is a given, and yeah, probably Will Warren. There's nobody on the current rotation that's gonna be like, you know what, he's good. He's good. And let's say essentially they start on the road. Are you really comfortable putting Stroman in a game three tied
Yeah.
with the series tied at one, or potentially even worse? Not to be on a negative aspect, but these are scenarios that the Yankees are going to currently face, or may currently face, if they don't address pitching at the trade deadline. I know we're currently talking about what they have to do on third and stuff like that, but I definitely do think that aside from third base, aside from the bullpen, uh, it won't hurt to maybe get another left-handed batter or right-handed batter. But I think the priorities for Brian Cashman should be third base, pitching in both aspects when it comes to the starting pitching and the rotation. So we'll see how things unfold with that.
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for calling.
Yep, see you.
All right. So again, the Yankees have a lot going on for them in this season. So there's a lot that can happen. But again, Cashman has sort of hugged certain prospects where we try to develop them and it doesn't necessarily go our ways, and then next thing you know, they become damaged goods. And I hate to use that word, but it's essentially what could happen. But sometimes when you're able to get a game changer, I don't know if there's a current trade for the Yankees that is going to be considered game changing. They do need to get a starting pitcher. I think that should be the priority before them getting a third baseman. Again, you could probably get somebody like a Royce Lewis, which will probably cost them cheaper, and it will be less of a package. As me and Julian spoke about possibly getting a Eugenio Suarez. So it's going to be interesting to see what both the Yankees and the Mets do as far as the trade deadline coming up. Again, Major League Baseball is back tomorrow. The Yankees will be in Atlanta to host the Atlanta Braves in a 3-game set, while the New York Mets will be in Ohio to battle Ellie De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds. Before we go off the show, just want to get into some football news. All right, guys, there you go. We get into some football news. Get off my back now. According to reports, the Jets locked up two of their star players, and I'm so happy about this because I am a Jet fan, but essentially the Jets are not known for doing something like this. They'll have their players, and then they'll just find some way to have the relationship with that particular player become disgruntled to the point where it's like, you know what, hey, we don't need you. And I think that was just a different scenario, a different culture to what the culture seems to be. Again, for the New York Jets right now, um, Garrett Wilson, their wide receiver, agreed to a 4-year, $130 million extension, which runs through the 2030 season. It's 90 million in guaranteed money. Wilson has just been nothing but dynamite since he's coming to the NFL and since he's been drafted by the Jets in 2022. It's the first time an NFL player has an annual salary of over 31 million after just 3 seasons. His annual salary of 32.5 million marks him as the fifth highest paid receiver currently in football. And again, since the Jets drafted him number 10 overall in the 2022 draft, he's just been nothing but dynamite. Last year, for those people questioning whether he deserves the money right now, I'm gonna break it to you right there, right now, to tell you why he indeed deserves the bag. So last year he posted career highs in receptions with 101, career highs in receptions and receiving yards, a little bit over 1,100, and touchdowns with 7. He's the first player since George Sauer in 1966-68 to record 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons and have 80 receptions. There's only 5 players in NFL history that have done that during that span, and that's Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas, and Odell Beckham Jr. And you really talk about those players that I named, those are brand name certified ballers. I would even argue, at least, if not all, at least a bulk of those names will essentially be in the Hall of Fame. So definitely good stuff for Gary Wilson. I think people were just misconstrued it as far as the body language that was seen off during the sidelines during those Jets games and stuff like that. It was clear as day that him and Aaron Rodgers just didn't get along. So again, this could obviously benefit him in a special way. Number one, he gets to play. He's the featured guy on offense. The organization with the new general manager Mogi and head coach Aaron Glenn, who actually came out and said, you know what, our goal is to try to give this guy the ball as much as possible. That right there, when you're hearing that from a first time head coach, it's got to be music to receiver ears. Because number one, it shows the investment that not only did they put into him financially with this contract, but what they have in store for him as far as getting him involved. For whatever reason, him and Rogers did not coexist. There was a lot of frustration, and the body language, essentially, from the public eye, would bring out the assumption that he was potentially disgruntled. I never really seen that. Obviously, when you're a competitor, you're going to show displays of frustration. And obviously, when you're a Jets fan, you're going to be frustrated, period. But that's just besides me. But again, when you're showing this type of investment, this type of confidence, this just boosts the players' want as far as wanting to be great and just the confidence that you embed within a player. So I'm happy that we locked in the receiver. To me, he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL. And the numbers back up exactly what I'm saying. You know, he's just been nothing short of amazing. Again, 3 seasons, over 1,000 yards, 80 receptions. Only four players aside from him has done that in NFL history, and I'm excited because I think this could essentially be a breakout season for him. Not only does he have the financial stability of knowing that he's being taken care of by this Jets team, but he's also playing with a quarterback that he has familiarity with. You know, Justin Fields signed a 2-year, $40 million contract with the New York Jets during the offseason. And as we know, Gary Wilson and Justin Fields, they're familiar from their days playing together at Ohio State. So essentially, this could be a win-win for both of them. Justin Fields, for the most part, he's had an up and down NFL career, and it's hard to like put the blame on him when he's dealt with offensive coordinators after offensive coordinators. I don't think the situation that was brought to him was the best for him as far as the environment that he was in. He had to deal with Chicago. When he was with the Bears, I don't think the Bears had the best nucleus and the best targets that they had for him, you know, at the time being. But at least for the most part, the Jets have some young receivers and definitely promising one in Garrett Wilson. So I think if Fields, who's still 26 years old, by the way, has the possibility of having a breakout season as well. So I'm very excited to see that Ohio State connection happen in New York. But Gary Wilson wasn't the only person that got paid. His teammate Sauce Gardner signed a 4-year, $120 million deal, $60 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. And again, once we saw the reports about Gary Wilson, it's kind of like right now, Wilson and Garner are two peas in a pod right now. If you're gonna sign Gary Wilson as your best top tier player, you got to sign arguably the best defensive cornerback in the league. So great job by the Jets locking up their future as far as those top star players and whatnot. Um, He was defensive rookie of the year. I didn't mention that Gary Wilson was also offensive rookie of the year that same year, which is why he deserved the bag too. But getting back to Garner, he's a defensive rookie of the year, 2-time first team All Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler, and he's one of three last year. Because I know everybody was saying, "Oh, well, he had a down year." Well, he was one of three cornerbacks to allow less than 2 touchdowns, less than 400 yards, and that's less than 400 coverage snaps. So again, I know the knock on Garner has been his tackling issues. I think with the acquisition of Aaron Glenn, who played the position, who know what it takes to be successful in New York in this market. I think that's not only going to not going to make that defense better, but essentially is going to make Aaron Sauce Gardner a much better cornerback than what he is, and that's actually the scary part. In my opinion, he's the best cornerback in the league, and at 24 years old, he's just gonna get better. So I'm so glad that the Jets took the initiative to invest on these two young studs, Gary Wilson being 25 years old, and Sauce Gardner being 24 years old. So what this tells me is that the Jets are actually serious about building a contender. Now, are they going to excel expectations as far as getting over Buffalo? Probably not, but it's a start. It's definitely a start. And not to mention, you have Brees Hall, who had an injury plagued year. Hopefully, we see the Brees Hall that we saw in 2022. And if you have just a better than decent quarterback play from Justin Fields, you have Gary Wilson doing his thing, and you have Sauce Gardner doing his thing on offense. Listen, may not be this coming year, but the following year and maybe the year after that, the Jets may be a team that can go under the radar. It will not surprise me. But good stuff by the Jets organization to lock up those two players. So with that said, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining in, and I'll see you guys next week.